Want to write like a real journalist? In this video, I'll teach you how to write a newspaper article in 12 steps with examples. Before we begin, let's take a look at the anatomy of a real newspaper example. The nameplate, or flag, is the newspaper's title and logo at the very top of the front page. It clearly identifies the publication. The folio is the line of text that contains important metadata about the edition, such as the volume, issue number, publication date, location, and price. The teaser is a small preview box that teases an interesting story on an inside page or for the next issue to encourage readers to look for it. The primary headline is the largest, most prominent title on the page, summarizing the main news story and designed to grab the reader's attention. The byline is a simple line that identifies the author of the article. The lead is the opening paragraph of the story. It concisely summarizes the most essential facts. More on this later. The Nut Graf explains the story's context, significance, and why it matters to the reader. We'll explain this later. The body is the main text of the article. It contains all the supporting details, quotes, and background information. The jump line is a short navigational instruction that tells the reader which page to turn to find the rest of the story. The image is a photograph accompanying the story to provide visual context, add emotion, and help draw the reader's eye. The cut line is the caption for the image. It describes what is happening in the photo, identifies the people in it, and often includes a photo credit. The secondary story headline is for another less dominant story on the front page. It's important, but not as important as the main story. Okay, now that you understand the structure of a newspaper, let's start writing an article. Step 1. Find your story. First things first, what's your story about? You need to identify the type of article you're writing. Is it hard news, a report on a recent event like a school board meeting or a sports game? Is it a feature article, an in-depth look at a person or issue? Or is it an opinion piece where you share your viewpoint? Next, think about your audience. Are you writing for your school newspaper, a local community paper, a specialized publication? Your tone and the level of detail you include will depend entirely on who's reading. For example, if you're writing about a new recycling program for your school paper, you'll use casual language and focus on how it affects students. But if you're writing the same story for a citywide environmental journal, you'd use more technical terms and think about a broader audience. Step 2. Gather information. This is the most important part of journalism. You cannot write a good article without solid research. Start by conducting interviews. Talk to the people directly involved in your story. Get their full names, titles, and direct quotes. If you're writing about that recycling program, interview the principal, the environmental club president, and maybe a janitor who will be handling the bins. Next, verify every fact. Double-check the spelling of names, confirm dates and times, and verify any statistics or data you plan to use. One wrong number can destroy your credibility. You must answer the 5 W's and 1 H. Who was involved? What happened? Where did it take place? When did it happen? Why did it happen? What's the context? And how did it happen? Here's a pro tip. Always record your interviews if you have permission, but also take detailed notes as a backup. Write down full names, titles, contact information, everything you need for proper attribution. Step 3. Find your angle. Now you've got all this information, but you can't use everything. You need to find your angle. Your angle is the single most important point you want readers to take away. It's what makes your story unique and newsworthy. Let's say there's a fire at a local theater. The basic facts are, a fire happened, firefighters responded, and the building was damaged. But what's your angle? Is it that 2 firefighters were injured, making it a story about heroism and sacrifice? Is it that a historic landmark was destroyed, making it about community heritage? Or is it about fire safety concerns in old buildings, making it an investigative piece? Your angle guides everything that follows, especially your opening paragraph. Step 4. Write the headline. Your headline has one job: grab attention while accurately summarizing the story. Keep it between 5 to 10 words. Use strong, active verbs. City Council approves new park is much better than new park is approved by City Council. See the difference? Active voice makes it punchy and immediate. Here are some techniques that work. Number 1, include big numbers, such as $1 million to be won at local bingo game. Number 2, use shocking words, such as young boy vomits all over judge. Number 3, ask a direct question, such as, is the earth really round? Number 4, involve the reader, such as, you could be the next king or queen. And finally, include interesting facts like 90% of scientists believe climate change is caused by humans. Here's a simple formula. Think about your main character and your main event. For example, main character, local boy. Main event, singing contest. Combine them. Local boy wins singing contest for 11th time. Or try, YouTube star suspected of stealing millions. Or billionaire loses all their money at charity football match. Step 5. Add the byline. This one's easy. The byline is simply your name and optional credentials like job title and sometimes where you are based. It goes right under the headline and looks like this: by Sue Houseman, editor. In some articles, you may see a location name instead of a person's name. This is very common in articles about accidents and issues that may affect the wider public. While in other articles, there may not be a byline at all, such as the article being a staff report, an editorial, the result of a collaborative effort, or if the newspaper's reputation is more important than the writer's. Step 6. Craft the lead. Now we get to the most important paragraph of your entire article, the lead, sometimes spelt L-E-D-E. This is your opening paragraph, 2 or 3 sentences that summarize the most important elements of your story. A reader should understand the core story just from reading this paragraph. Let's look at an example. A 3-alarm fire destroyed the historic Grand Theater on Main Street early Tuesday morning, leaving 2 firefighters with minor injuries, officials said. Notice what this lead accomplishes. Who? 2 firefighters were injured. What? A fire destroyed the theater. Where? The Grand Theater on Main Street. When? Early Tuesday morning. The why and how will come in the following paragraphs, but your reader already knows the essential story. That's a strong lead. Step 7. Follow with the Nut Graf. After your lead comes the Nut Graf, short for nutshell paragraph. This paragraph answers the crucial "so what" question. It tells readers why this story matters and why it's important right now. In most straight news stories, the Nut Graf is your second or third paragraph, right after the lead. In longer feature stories, it might come after a few introductory paragraphs, but always near the beginning. Using our theater fire example, your Nut Graf might read, "The loss of the 100-year-old Grand Theater marks the end of an era for downtown, where the landmark served as the cultural heart of the community and hosted countless performances that shaped the city's artistic identity." See? Now readers understand not just what happened, but why they should care. Step 8. Build the body. The body of your article follows the inverted pyramid structure. This means you present information in descending order of importance. Most important facts first, least important facts last. Start with supporting details, dedicating one main idea per paragraph. Include direct quotes from your interviews. "The building is a total loss," said Fire Chief Jane Anderson. Use your quotes strategically to add voice and credibility. Real people saying real things makes your story come alive. Add eyewitness accounts, facts, and figures to support any claims and to give your story credibility. Always explain technical points in simple language. Avoid unnecessary jargon that might confuse your readers. Each paragraph should flow logically from the previous one. If you're discussing the cause of the fire, follow it with information about the investigation. If you mention damage costs, follow with information about insurance or fundraising efforts. Step 9. Add background and context. Toward the end of your article, before the conclusion, include background and context. This is where you help readers understand the bigger picture. Provide a brief history or related facts, linked to past developments if they're relevant. For our theater fire story, you might write, "This marks the second major fire on Main Street this year. In March, the old hardware store was gutted by flames, raising questions about fire safety codes in the historic district. City officials had planned to review building regulations, but had not completed the assessment before Tuesday's fire." This context helps readers understand that this isn't an isolated incident. It's part of a larger pattern that deserves attention. Step 10. Write the conclusion. Here's where article types differ significantly. For hard news articles, there is no formal conclusion. The article simply stops when you run out of facts. Your final paragraph contains the least important detail. Why? Because editors might need to cut your story from the bottom to make it fit on the page, and the story must still make sense without that last paragraph. For feature or opinion articles, you do need a real conclusion. Your goal is to leave a lasting impression. You might end with a powerful quote that summarizes the story's emotional impact, a tie-back that refers to something from your introduction, or a look to the future. Whatever you choose, keep it factual and avoid inventing dramatic endings. Step 11. Using images. This is an optional step for some news articles. A strong image can tell the story as powerfully as your words. Choose a photo that has a clear subject and adds new information. It shouldn't just be decoration. Good photos show action, emotion, or a clear aftermath. For example, for the fire story, a photo of firefighters battling the blaze or the smoldering ruins the next day. You should also include a cut line, which is a caption for the image. It must be factual. Never assume what is happening in a photo. Verify it. You may describe who is in the photo and what they are doing. Use the present tense to make it feel immediate. For example, firefighter Jane Anderson sprays water on the Grand Theater's remaining embers Tuesday afternoon. You could also provide context. When and where was this photo taken? Why is it relevant to the story? For example, the morning blaze destroyed the 101-year-old landmark. And finally, always give credit to the photographer or source. For example, photo by John Smith from City Times, or photo courtesy of the Westview Fire Department. Step 12. Edit and fact check. Your first draft is never your final draft. Professional journalists revise extensively. First, check for accuracy. Read through everything again. Are all names spelt correctly? Are the dates, times, and numbers accurate? One mistake can undermine your entire article. Second, read for clarity. Is your article easy to understand? Use simple, direct language. Keep sentences and paragraphs short. If you're using complex terms, explain them. Third, proofread for grammar and spelling. Here's a great trick. Read your article out loud. You'll catch errors and awkward phrasing that you miss when reading silently. Fourth, check for objectivity. If you're writing hard news, your personal opinion should not appear anywhere. Stick to facts and let quotes from your sources provide color and opinion. Fifth, pay attention to attribution. Make it clear where your information comes from. For sensitive claims, always attribute to specific sources, a person, a report, an agency. And avoid libel. Never publish false statements that damage someone's reputation. If you're making serious accusations, you must have solid evidence and proper attribution. Also seek balance and fairness. Get comments from all relevant parties, especially when reporting criticisms or accusations. If someone doesn't respond, note your attempts. Company X did not respond to requests for comment. And finally, disclose any conflicts of interest. If you're writing about your uncle's restaurant or your best friend's charity event, readers deserve to know about your connection. These checks protect both you and the people in your story. And there you have it, the 12 steps to writing a newspaper article like a professional journalist. For a free template, see the link in the video description below. Remember, great journalism takes practice. The more you write, the better you'll get. So grab a notebook, find a story, and start reporting. If you found this helpful, give this video a thumbs up and subscribe for more writing tips. Drop a comment below telling me what kind of article you're working on. I'd love to hear about it. Thanks for watching, and see you next time.